our project very, very quickly, and I just want to apologize because we're going to skip through a few things and only concentrate, just in the interest of time, on a very few things. But let's say this, the biggest lesson that I learned in this is that we went through a formal integrated design process, and everyone says, oh, we're always doing that. Well, you're not. I mean, you always say you're doing it, but you don't actually do that. And I think there's great credit to Manitoba Hydro for actually having the discipline to follow through on what they said they were going to do. So they hired, I think, a lot of really talented engineers and architects and landscape architects. But most importantly, we had one of the leading energy consultants in the world, Transolar, out of Stuttgart, and Thomas Auer flew from Germany to be here with us. But he's our secret weapon, actually, because he's a great thinker. Okay, so let's move through this. They're going to be very, very quick. I'm not even going to dwell on many. You know, we are the center of North America. I thought of all our American friends would enjoy that. Chicago of the North. But this is what we're dealing with. You know, an extreme climate. I mean, I remember Transolar saying, we've never seen anything like this. It's minus 35 degrees Celsius, and it can be plus 35 degrees Celsius. They've never seen anything like it. Next. These were their graphs right from the beginning with the windrows, which comes from due south. Totally counterintuitive. We Canadians think it comes from the Arctic, from the northwest. The reality is it comes from you. It comes from the south. This was the question. Keep going. We're going to just hop skip. This was our big team. You saw them. There's a great management book, one of the few management books I actually read, which is called Organizing Genius. And I believe it's the way in which people have to think about problem solving for integrated design. It's by Warren Bennis, an American. Next. These were Public Works Canada's spheres of what we should be achieving if you're doing an office building. We said it's not enough. You need architecture, and you certainly need urban integration, because ultimately every building implies a city. It's what John Portman said. It's about city building, ultimately. It's not about one building on one site. Next. We asked this question early. Next. This is Winnipeg with two rivers, the Red and the Assiniboine River, and Portage Avenue, which is one of, it really is a, wants to be Michigan Avenue. And it has Portage and Main, and Hydro picked the site dead center because Winnipeg needs a lot of revitalization. They picked it on Portage, and it's also on the Graham Avenue Transit Mall, which becomes a key factor because we're consolidating 2,000 people who are in about 15 locations in the suburbs. So when Winnipeg Hydro was taken over by Manitoba Hydro, the mayor of Winnipeg then negotiated the idea that they would build their headquarters downtown, and Manitoba Hydro agreed, understanding that it would have a huge impact on the economy and culture of downtown. Next. These are again Transolars. It looks like the Battle of Troy or something like that, but these are arrows that are indicating the wind coming from the south, and the formation of the building, which has been described as a capital letter A, and some people have described it as an open book, but it sits on a podium, which is 2 and 3 stories. It has its narrow edge on Portage Avenue. It's almost like a Flatiron building. And within the capital letter A, there's a west loft and an east loft, and down the middle are all of the things that make this building healthy and sustainable and drive the ventilation system. Next. This is it. You see the river, Portage, Graham, Transit Mall. 95% of all the buses come through transit, and now 50% of the Hydro employees who are coming downtown are taking the bus. They're saying they've never read as much in their lives. We provided very little parking because one thing that Winnipeg has is lots of parking. We did not put in a staff cafeteria, which really angered a lot of people, but what it did is it really affects the economy of 45 restaurants that are in 4 minutes walking distance. Okay, next. And the building actually splays and opens to the south because Winnipeg gets more sunlight than any major Canadian city. It just gets that. That's what Transolar identified, and they said we have to harness that energy. So what we did is we splayed the building. The west wing becomes very public on the ground floor, linking the transit mall inside, has very little retail on it. We did not want to draw in the city into the building, all the retail is facing outboard. And we made a triangular park, which is great because it actually invites other users to participate in this site. Next. 2 renderings showing the open end of the A with 3 stacked atriums which are related to an idea about a vertical campus at 6 floors above a base, and the Portage Avenue facade, which is very much like a flat iron building. It noses onto the street and has very little shadow impact. That's another reason we picked it. The podium really deals with a lot of the microclimate of wind. Next. In the city, still being completed there. We've opened the building. Everyone's moved in. Next. A great diagram that we finally got to really understand what we're doing. We have decoupled heating and cooling from ventilation. It's a concrete high-rise building. We have the largest geothermal application in the country, 280 holes drilled to 400 feet depth at 15-foot centers under an urban site. And there are 1-inch diameter pipes in tubes in the concrete, 10-inch concrete slabs. And the slabs are kept at 20 degrees Celsius year-round, no matter whether it's -30 or +30. We have 100% natural ventilation coming in because of the south prevailing winds into those atriums. It stratifies. We have rises. We have 100% raised floor, so it's displacement ventilation. And we have a very high performance building envelope. We have windows that open. Windows that open. We have basically buffer walls on the west face and the east face, and everywhere else it's triple glazed primarily. And then you see the solar chimney, which drives the ventilation system. So air comes into the atriums. Sometimes it's preheated if it's -20. It goes into the raised floors, it stratifies, it hits bodies, it warms up, and is drawn across the building to the solar chimney. We have a passive preheat function in the top of the chimney, which is basically a whole grouping of hollow section steel tubes with sand in them. That's passive preheating. They're painted black. Next. And it becomes the icon. So when people were talking about spires and heights, ours really drives the environmental systems of the building besides being the tallest part of the building. Next. Here's our performance. That buildings, we were shooting for a 60% reduction in energy consumption from the Model National Energy Code building standard, and we're actually overachieving the target. We're actually achieving it in a way that will drive our energy usage down below 90 kilowatt hours per square meter per year, when most buildings in Winnipeg and around most in North America are like 500, 600 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. I mean, you know, this is really big and really green. Next. And the way you do it is you go passive. Okay, next. Just keep skipping. So this is the concept of the vertical campus. 3 prototypical 6-story atriums subdivided with north atriums that are 3 stories and usable year-round with interconnecting stairs in each of the atriums. Next. The west wing, which is public and open. Some people have called it the cathedral. A canopy that actually mitigates the south wind as it comes down the face of the atriums, and we protect the park. Next. The gallery, the green roof, the park. Next. We recycled 92% of the material of the buildings that were demolished on site. We sought a LEED gold and we'll get a LEED platinum. Next. The interconnecting stairs in the north atriums. Next. People gather in the north atriums. They're very, very comfortable, and you look over the green roofs and towards Portage and Main. Next. It's about teams of people. That's why you make a sustainable building. It's not about energy consumption and all that. It's really about people, because that's the highest cost of any organization. Everybody knows that. And it's the creative talent, the knowledge workers who are coming downtown that make Winnipeg have a chance. Next. The atriums, this is really great. This is our humidification and dehumidification in the south atriums. Unitized curtain wall, double glazed on the outside, single glazed on the inside. These are the lungs of the building. These are winter gardens. Next. Hope to run this little film next. See if it goes. Does it go? No, they're searching. What they are 6 floors, 188 strands of mylar, where the water is coming from the top down, adhering to the mylar into a pool and then being filtered and recycled. And the surface area is calculated to humidify the dry winter air as it comes in. We chill that water in the summer and it it basically dehumidifies. Okay, skip it and go to the next. Go back. There it goes. So this is what I think the future is about, really about the integrated thinking about not only environmental systems, but things which appear and are very much part of the environment we share. Next. There's the pit. We're very excited about that and the passive preheat of the solar chimney. I think those were real innovations within the project. The green roofs and the tower, the windows that open. Next. Again, the windows that open. It's an event in the city when the windows open. And next. And next. And here's our team. We had our group portrait in the buffer wall. Thank you very much.